Lots of cool gear on the reviewing table tonight. Hi everybody, this is Nutnfancy, running the Nutnfancy project, TNP for short. We're in year 3. Thanks so much for your support, all you do for me, keeping me motivated and all the work to make these videos. And you are joining me now for a systems philosophy video. I think you will dig it. It's one I've had planned for quite some time. We're going to talk a lot about the specific philosophies behind gear integration in a tactical carbine / pistol system. Yep, lots of data to share with you guys. You've seen it on camera many times here in the Nutnfancy project. Lots and lots of hours of run and gun out there in my tactical courses that I set up. And what I'm going to do with this video, attempt to do, because it is a very large subject, is to share with you where I am at this point, personally and in the Nutnfancy project, with a tactical system that works.
Is that it?
Okay, there's several purposes for this video. One is to get you squared away. Are you tactically squared away right now? If you have an AR-15, an AK variant rifle, some other sort of tactical carbine, is it squared away, ready for fight? I would bet most people would say no. They have intentions of squared away, but it's probably locked away under the bed somewhere. They want to get this optic, they want to get that accessory, and they're just not there yet. Maybe I can give you some direction with this video to get your system tactically squared away, and I'm going to give you some direction on what I think is money well spent and stupid money. Money that is not well spent. There's a lot of things competing with your system's dollars. A lot of them you see on the table, you're going to see more. I'm going to throw out some philosophy along the way, and I'm going to say, hey, this is good money, this is bad money. Okay? I'm an independent gear reviewer here in the Nutnfancy project. These are going to be some ground rules. This is number 1. Before I launch into the specifics of the tactical carbine, the pistol, all the things I plan on talking about in the video. But these are important. I got to get them out of the way. Guys will dial in, and they need to understand I'm an independent gear reviewer, and I really, really stress independent. I'm not hooked to any forum. I'm not hooked to any tactical school of thought. Okay, and some of the things which I advocate, which work for me, may fly in the face with some tactical schools of thought. And honestly, sorry, I just don't care. If I've proven it and if it works for me, I'm happy. That's not to say I'm not always learning, I'm not always progressing. I am, and that's another ground rule. Maybe some of the things you see in this review will change over time. And I'll say, hey, this is a thing that works better for me in the future with maybe something that I found. Maybe it's a new technology, whatever. But my systems evolve. They are subject to change. The one I'm getting ready to show you now, and that you have seen at length in TNP, has been very, very stable. And by the way, that's going to be a key word on several of the aspects I want to talk about your tactical system, and that is, I'll just say stability. I'm going to bring it up a lot. Not so much in the terms of evolving your tactical system. I think it's good to evolve, but it's also good to hang on to something that works for you. Okay, so I'm independent. I'm not linked to the forums, and a lot of people, they just may disagree, and it's okay to disagree. There's lots of schools of thought, and there's lots of competency out there with this kind of thing. There's great schools teaching the tactical carbine with the pistol. You guys got to go back to rule 1, and that is I'm an independent gear reviewer. I'm not really a tactical instructor. I've never thought of myself as such. However, I know what works for me, and I will share my system with you. If you want to adopt it, that's great. Another kind of a sideline for this video is if you ever came out to shoot in a Nutnfancy run and gun, if you showed up with the stuff I'm sharing with you now, I would count you as pretty squared away. Okay, I know you guys want to come out and shoot with us. I just don't have the facilities. I don't have the manpower. Maybe one day. But let's just pretend you're coming out to a Nutnfancy run and gun. You need to watch this video, and you need to develop your systems to this level so you're ready to rock when you hit the ground. And we put you under run and gun, a little bit of stress, bang, you're ready to go. Okay, so also this is based on my requirements, this system I'm going to show you. And my requirements may be a little bit different than yours because I'm a reviewer, and there's always a lot of reviews going on concurrently. I'm not just reviewing a single AR-15, I might be reviewing an accessory along with it. The short Tapco grip up here. I might be reviewing the MOE forend up here for a series of videos I have planned. Stay subscribed. Optics, triggers, flashlights. There's a lot of things that kind of go concurrently with my run and guns. So guys sometimes will dial in and say, why you have that stuff and that stuff? Because I'm running concurrent reviews. I don't have time, energy, or money to go out there where I shoot all the time, so I have to maximize it. And that gets to another ground rule, and that is what I'm going to call influence of review. My system I'm going to show you, kind of like the horizontal tack force holster, is really helpful for me as a reviewer since I'm running so many different types of pistols. Okay, you will probably have the luxury of just running one pistol. Maybe it's a Glock, a 1911, XDM, whatever. You go with that. You get a Serpa or a custom-made holster for that. Good. I'm changing systems. So there are some things, maybe perhaps some artificialities built in the way I run. Like you've seen the tactical vest that I wear, that on the back it's configured for shotgun, on the front it's configured for 5.56 carbines. That's an artificiality. I would never run that in real life, but for a reviewer, time savings, I only have to configure one vest. It's awesome. And also, the system I'm showing you once again is for tactical carbine and pistol. If you're running tactical shotgun, precision rifle, the system will be a little bit different, maybe a lot different, but you can probably still springboard off the stuff I want to show you. Another ground rule, you need to determine what range your system is going to engage up to. I think a lot of guys will throw out the number 300 meters and they'll say, well, I want my carbine to go 0 to 300 meters. I want to tell you that's a long ways. Okay, to shoot under stress, it's very difficult. If you've learned anything from watching my Sledgehammer series of vids, and by the way, I got a crank on this vid. I'd really love to do it in one part. But if you've learned anything from Sledgehammer, it's that it's difficult. When your heart is racing, your adrenaline is up, you're under the gun, no pun intended, and you're shooting, heck, at 200 yards, it's tough hitting a 12-inch, 10-inch plate, which is representative of a bad guy torso, right?
It's tough.
It's tough. I think a realistic engagement distance would be 0 to 200 yards on your system. And by the way, let me back up a little bit. I said it's for run and gun. It's also going to be a WROL rig, what I'm showing you here. If you set up like this, you're pretty much squared away to run a neighborhood checkpoint if all heck breaks loose. We go into without rule of law. There is no police. There is no security except the kind you provide for your own neighborhood. Do we need to have all this firepower, multiple magazines, backup pistol? Probably not, but I'm also advocating a show of force, so you never have to use it. Hopefully the bad guys see you and they go somewhere else. Great. And if things do go down and they're armed, comparably or even more, you're not caught with your pants around your ankle. Ankles, plural. You know what I'm saying? So this is kind of worst case, it will work. So WROL. And by the way, my audience for this is law enforcement, duty use, of course, military. To some degree, your unit will dictate a lot of what I'm going to show you. And then, of course, my beloved TNPers around the world, the responsible civilians. Okay, they come along and they provide and will provide great security when all this crap goes down. Okay, range, I want to say 0 to 200 yards. You might go out to 300 yards. I'll just stick with yards, not meters. Also, what I'm showing you is proven in the Nutnfancy project after 3 years, some previously in my shooting leading up to that point when I kicked off TNP. It's not video game stuff that I've seen. I mean, some guys really get kind of confused. They play the video games. There's some awesome video games out there, but then they kind of think that equates to real life. No. I mean, we're going to really talk about SAWC, size and weight constraints. They're realities. Your body can only do so much. You need to adhere to that and learn what your limitations are. Okay, especially when we talk about levels of armament. And then finally, every system's going to have interferences. In other words, you're going to have things that bump into other things, get tangled up. You really need to know what those are and be prepared for them. Expect surprises too. You will be surprised. And the only way to learn it is to run it. You have to run your system. It's great to be in the house, and suit up, and you can do a lot of good really practicing dry firing safely, of course, safe direction, make sure the weapon's empty, all that good stuff. You can learn a lot, but to get yourself under stress, actually send rounds down range, it's a whole new ball game. And then if you were to come out to a Nutnfancy run-a-gun and you get running for 8 hours straight, it's a whole different level. Again, I'm not saying what I do is all that special, but what I'm showing you is proven. It's not fictitious, it's not made up. I didn't go to some forum, grab it. I just don't have time, haven't for years. Let's go. First point I want to talk about, specifics. Your rifle and or carbine. Which one should you choose? I don't really care. It can be an AK variant. Here's an SGL 31, awesome, Arsenal AK. Excellent. On the background, a Bushmaster AR-15. Make sure it's reliable. That's number one. It's got to be reliable, and you've got to know it's reliable. If you put together a Franken gun from parts, you better have tested it, and you better kind of know what you're doing. I prefer you just buy something ready-made that has a factory warranty, so if it's not running right, send it back to them, and they get it running right for you. You know, if I pay a little extra, okay, I pay a little extra. I'd rather have a factory gun. It could be an SU-16 by Kel-Tec. It could be a Beretta carbine. It could be a Mini 14. All awesome choices. It doesn't really matter. Your choice of caliber is up to you. What do I think's most effective? Heck, that's a whole different video. I'm pretty happy with 5.56. I'm pretty happy with what it can do, and I think for most realistic purposes and the ranges that I set forth at the beginning, totally workable. Do I go DI or piston? Whatever. You know, I think DI works great. Go reference my, you know, DI versus piston dilemma philosophy video. I talk about all that there. I'm pretty happy with a direct impingement gun. Absolutely happy. Keep it lubricated, it'll rock. Which drives to the point, and let's just say you're coming out to a run and gun. Make sure your gun is ready to go. I'm talking maintenance here. That you have your bolt carrier group lubed up, hopefully with a synthetic lubricant. I'm using Slip 2000 or Militech. Weapon shield's good. There's so many good lubricants you can put on there, and some guys get really wrapped around the axle about lubricants. Don't even worry about it. Just put a lubricant that everyone's talking about. You'll be great. And lube it up good if you're running a DI gun. Have it clean if you're running a DI gun. And this also drives to the point that for WRL, your gun should be ready to rock. It should be lubricated, good to go. I mean, go to war. I mean, that's what I hate to use that term. That's probably not the best term, but you need to be ready to put your life in its hands. Your gun of choice. Okay, so make sure it's reliable. If you go out, you might have a couple key parts that might break. Maybe an AR-15 repair kit might be in order with all the innards that you know to have gone down. In my shooting in the Nutnfancy project over the last 3 years, I have not seen a DI gun go down. Let me say this too, I am not like sending, 500 rounds down within a matter of hours. That's generally not what we're doing. Our rounds count's lower than that. The place you go to find out if those guns are going to fail are probably a carbine course, a tactical carbine course, maybe a 3-gun competition. Go, go, go. That's when the guns are really getting heated up. They're sending lots of rounds, and you're going to see the failures there. Any gun can fail, too. Let me repeat that. Any gun can fail. I don't care what brand it is. I don't care where it comes from. I don't care if it's piston, DI. There's always can be some failures, which will drive to another point when I'm talking about your rifle and or carbine. Bring another. Okay, and now I'm kind of driving to if you go to a run and gun or if you're going to a tactical carbine course. Don't just bring one, bring two. Okay, so maybe I would go with that bushy outfitted with an ML2 aim point, and then I might bring LWRC M6A2. By the way, this has a precision scope on it. This is not a standard scope, and that's been outfitted for accuracy testing for the review. Okay, so I'll show you its scope here in a minute when I talk about optics. So bring another gun. If your other one goes down, you don't have time to fix it. I'm talking courses of fire, schools, then grab your other gun. Borrow one from a buddy. Okay, next point on the tactical carbine. It can be what you want, and guys will say, what's your preference? I can actually run an AK platform, a mini platform, AR-15 platform equally well at this point in my experience. I mean, I'm probably not an expert at any of them. I'm a jack of all trades as a reviewer. I'm a good reviewer, and I can run the system to show the review, show a certain level of competency to say, hey, this system is capable of doing this. That's what I need to do as a reviewer. If I was really pressed and I said, okay, what's your favorite, I'd probably go with an AR-15 platform. I just love the ergonomics, I love the ergonomics. I love the low sighting platform on it. They're extremely reliable if you maintain them properly. They're very accurate. They're relatively lightweight. Again, the 5.56 round, I think it hits hard enough. Load it with a heavier round if you need to. Don't get me wrong, I could be just as happy running an AK. Okay, carriage. How are you going to carry it? Basically two options. You're going to run single point or 2-point sling, which is best. Let's go back to run and gun. Well, I've done both of them, and I like the term run and gun, and the whole reason I do that, there's several reasons, but one of them is I test gear that way best. I mean, I can't tell you the times we've been out there and, someone had a super high-speed tactical cool sling out there and it totally failed them. The gun pops off on it. That happened, by the way. And there's so many things you learn about the stability of your system. So if you go with a single point, awesome. If you go with a 2-point, awesome. Make sure it's stable and won't come off. It's going to really hold your gun. We've kind of seen some failures in TNP, haven't we? TNPers of slings that didn't work that were supposed to. Kel-Tec, KSG, whatever. Single point, I'm kind of less favorable to at this point in my experience. I do like them. They have some disadvantages. That is, if you dropped it and started running again, unless you're carrying it with your hand, it's going to be flopping around and banging into stuff. When you kneel down in the snow and mud, you can actually bury your barrel into the snow and mud. I don't find it to be a huge deal though, because I know that's going to happen, so I grab it, as you've seen many times on camera, and I just lift it up and put it across my thigh as I'm kneeling. Okay? 2 points are a little bit more advantageous in that they're more stable. Okay, you can actually drop it, it'll go down to almost a firing position, hanging horizontally or at a slight angle depending on which system you have. This one is from KZ Bowtac Tactical, about $17, highly recommended. Stable, make sure it's attached. Tactically squared away, make sure it's attached, it's not going to come off. By the way, I've been guilty of that. Voice of experience. 2-point slings are probably my favorite, but here it comes again. You're going to introduce more interferences when you're running a 2-point sling. You have 2 straps instead of 1 going across your chest. It may interfere with your magazine system, your pistol system, other systems. Be aware. Either system can work. And the attachment system, I don't really care. This is kind of a mash hook thing. It's not perfect because it doesn't have like a secondary locking mechanism on it. But honestly, I'm running and gunning with it. The single point KZ sling, that's also a KZ brand. It's been great. Price is right. $17 or so. Very stable, relatively lightweight. And that drives to another point. I can't tell you how many times guys have come out with these stupid sling systems. Sorry, they are dumb. They're overpriced and they're extremely heavy, but they're real spec. They got this huge honking metal buckle on it. Those are people who are not dialed into SAWC, and the people I'm talking about are the people who designed it. I mean, the sling weighs like 8-10 ounces alone. Forget it. You will never see something like that on my gun. You run with me 8 hours shooting all day long, and we'll see if you still like that sling. Make sure your sling is stable. Make sure it's attached. Practice with both ones. You may prefer single point over 2-point. Both can work for you. Accessories. I'm going to start off with optics. And man, I could make a whole video of this. Maybe one day I will. What optics do you choose for your carbine? Well, I think most guys really, from what I see, really like the reflex sight. That is a red dot, an EOTech, an aim point. And they do have so many advantages. I really love the aim point. Probably still a little bit better than the EOTech for all the things I've said before. Go look at my other videos. Lightweight, really wide field of view, extremely fast, night capable, NV capable if you get the right model. However, the disadvantages start showing up when the ranges extend and then the light falls and you're having trouble identifying the target at 200 yards. Kind of like we've seen in the Nutnfancy project at the 200-yard stage. Guys who've shown up with reflex sights, whatever model you want, they have extreme difficulty making the hits when their heart's racing with this type of sight. I think this sight is ideally suited probably to closer range. I would say 50 yards in. What? I would say 100 yards in, 200 yards in, Nutnfancy. I know, there's all kinds of schools of thought. I'm just going by what I've seen out there, guys. It is not a give me to hit something at 50 yards with your AR-15. I'll just say AR-15. It's not. Again, we're talking voice of experience. Video games make it seem like it is. TV, lots of YouTube videos, I think, make it seem very easy to do it. It's not. It's really, really easy to miss. Magnification will help you in those situations, in most situations. So, in the Nutnfancy project, and also this is part of concurrent reviews, you'll often see scopes being ran. Here's one of my favorite high-value scopes, Weaver 2x7, and this is model number 849399. Totally worth the money, and Redfield ones are excellent too. Redfield has some really great high-value scopes. If you showed up to shoot with a 2x7 scope, super lightweight, what is this, like 10 ounces or something, not counting the mount, I would count you smart. This is money well spent. You know, if you want to go for something second kind of cool and, you know, that maybe will impress your foreign buddies, okay, that's fine. Unless you're going to be looking through your scope for a very long time, it's probably money wasted. Okay, now I say that occasionally and also for testing, I will run higher end optics. Now again, this is just a Buckmaster's Nikon on this for testing. But the main scope for this one, the LWRC M6A2, that carbine of mine, is this one. Leopold MR scope, medium range, tactical, and this is a 2.5 by 8, so basically it's a 3 by 9. Okay, it's got a tactical milling reticle, it's illuminated, it's an awesome scope, and it probably represents that same type of medium range power that will work both very close in and also further out. I will tell you, shooting at 200 plus yards with this, I wished it had more magnification. It helps you out. How much, or how close can you shoot with these scopes? 2.5, what is this, 2.5 power? Well, there's lots of smart people out there, smarter than me, but from my experience, you will find that your 2x7 power scope will CQB just fine. I'm talking within 25 yards, heck, 10 yards you can still do with it. But the forums say you need true 1 power, right, Nutnfancy, in order to engage? Well, maybe for really, really fast shooting, 10 feet away, yeah, that's probably true. That would be helpful. But I'd rather take the greater versatility of a scope like this going out to 7 power. I would. Okay, so 2x7 I think is a great range. You'll see me running 1.5 to 5. I think that's a good range, but it lacks magnification at the longer ranges. In my experience, guys who are shooting at those longer ranges are doing much better with more magnification. Which, by the way, let's back up and talk about range. I think realistically, if you, I hope this never happens, but if you were ever to engage with your tactical carbine to defend your life, I don't think it's going to be at 200 yards. It's not going to be at 100. It's not going to be at 50. It's probably going to be 25 yards in. Very close range. So if someone shows up with an aim point and then they throw that philosophy to me, I'm going to say, okay, that you've thought this out. That's why I use philosophy of use to indicate that you've done some thought and some thinking about your systems. And if you say, well, I really think the engagement, what I'm planning and putting the system together for, going to be close, awesome. I'll say thumbs up to you, my friend. Okay, few things on optics. Lasers, by the way. You never see lasers on my guns. What I found with lasers is most guys, I'm totally crushing that Glock 34. What I found is most guys spend more time looking for the dot than they do shooting with lasers. And I'm talking with tactical carbine. That's a training issue. You could overcome it, of course, by integrating some practice. But one, I don't like showing a light to the enemy so they can actually track me. If there's smoke, haze, or something, it draws a line right back to where you are. Okay. They do have some advantages, but I just kind of remain very lukewarm towards lasers. I'm on tactical carbines. I think on a pistol they make more sense, a home defense gun where they can have a deterrence effect, which they could as well on your AR-15, AK, I know. I don't dick around with them that much. Okay, so quick thing on lasers. How about bipods? I don't have one on the table. Should I integrate a bipod? I would say in most cases, no. How's that for an answer? No, you probably won't use it. In our course of fire in the Sledgehammer here in the Nutnfancy project, we don't use bipods and you really don't have time. And that's what I love about the timed urgency of Sledgehammer, is that you need to get in a good time. You don't have time to be setting up a bipod. I guess you could. We don't though. We just go prone, throw it in the dirt, make it happen. Shoot off barricade, make it happen. Go to rollover prone, shooting from your strong side. Awesome. Now there's certain situations where I think a bipod could work. You've seen me run it in my other drills like Armed Serenity. I ran the Rock River Entry Tactical with the bipod, and I actually liked it. And I was actually doing it from my own experience to say, hey, how does this work? And it actually worked quite well. It's a training issue, you have to fold it. There are some downsides though, and that is weight. And the weight's at the worst possible end of your carbine, and that is up front. And you really want to keep everything as light as possible up here, because that is swing weight. That is how fast I can track a target and get the gun into action. The more crap I put up here, the worse off it's going to be. And anything that goes on my gun is better enhance its capabilities. Okay, and to me, enhancing its capabilities means what? Getting rounds on target. If it does not directly help me do that, I'm not interested. So there you go. Bipods, how about ergonomic enhancements? I am a big advocate on a nice AR-15 trigger. I think that's money well spent. A rack grade trigger, this is a Bushy, and I think it's running a Chip McCormick in it. Love the Chip McCormick, by the way, and I'm going to review some more AR-15 triggers. It works great, but you really notice when your heart rate's up and you're really trying to connect to that long distance target, again, the likelihood of that, I'm talking to civilians, not military. The likelihood with the military is very probable. A good trigger is going to help you. Okay, it's just flat out proven in TNP at this point. A good trigger helps you connect, because you don't have to, I mean, a really stiff rack grade trigger, you pull it and you're throwing your sights off a little bit, even with good marksmanship fundamentals. Some guys are worried and say, well, I don't want to rip out my stock AR-15 trigger or whatever trigger, because I know it's going to be reliable. I would say probably the aftermarket triggers being produced now, latter part of 2011 when I'm filming this, are so good, that's really not a concern. I am not worried at all about the Chip McCormick, the Timneys. The Wilson Combat makes the TTU, Tactical Trigger Unit, awesome. Great triggers. I mean, they're so excellent. Now, ones that you would gunsmith together, like the JP, yeah, I'd be a little bit worried about that one. But ones that come modular, they're drop-in, I think most of them are going to be pretty squared away. Again, everything can fail. There you go. One thing I forgot, we're talking accessories on your carbine. Do I have BUIS? Should I throw them on there? I would say absolutely yes. Everything can fail. I've had optics fail on me. Sometimes on camera, you've seen it. Transition to BUIS. It should be seamless. It should be co-witnessed. Okay, and you should practice with them. Big advocate of BUIS. Troy Industries are awesome. PRI are awesome. I'll talk more about these specifics later on. BUIS rock. They are a little bit more expensive. There are more affordable polymer options out there. Look into them. Awesome. Ergonomic enhancements. How about vertical grips? It's up to you, man. Will it help you shoot the gun better? If it does, and you've tried it, even in dry fire practice, throw it on there. And also, if you come out to a run and gun, you are going to learn. You'll put your system together. You'll put a lot of thought into it. You'll go, well, this rocks. I know I've seen it run in TNP a lot. I know the guys like it there. I know Nutnfancy digs it. But when you get out and run it, and again, you learn by doing, you may get it and you go, I don't know, this just isn't working for me. And that's absolutely okay. I mean, there's lots of variances. We can't expect one system fit everybody, make everybody happy. You may adapt. So in other words, like this VG, you say, hey, that looks good. And then I go practice with it. And then it's like, I don't really like it. I just want a clean forend, and you hold way up forward. Cool. Do I need a rail up front? Not really. Free floating it, you gain maybe a minuscule amount of accuracy out of it. Again, we're talking we'll say 200-yard tactical carbine. Is it going to make that much difference? No. I think it may be stupid money. If you can get it integrated into the gun already, rock on. If you're going for something high end, maybe second kind of cool, and I don't know, really, really toughness, which I think LWRC are, get it, run it. Again, you better have your eye on SAWC. Is it worth the wait? This one's integral to the M6A2, and a lot are, but on this gun, maybe not. Some of those high-speed rails like Daniel Defense, Omega Light, Troy Industries is making some really kicking rails. I think they're so light, they really don't have any disadvantages other than cost. Because then you can integrate rails on whatever side you want, left, right, up, and down. Cool. I'll talk more about that in the future. Okay, that's rifle carbine. Your goal is to hit the target. Ask yourself, will it help me hit the target? If the answer is no, didn't really talk about, like stock changes or upgrades. If it's going to help you hit the target, awesome, go for it. Unless you're throwing out the second kind of cool flag. And for guys who don't know what I'm talking about, that's like, it just turns me on. I like it. I like Ergo. I like the MyAd grip. I like the CTR stock. Awesome. You throw a second kind of cool flag out, and as long as it hasn't ruined SAWC, hasn't ruined the functionality of your gun, I'll give you thumbs up. I'm like, okay, cool. That's for you. That's what works. I got to press. Okay, next up. I want to jump into pistol. Do you need to carry a pistol with you? Let's get back to WROL without rule of law. I would say the answer is probably no. What? Well, I'm just saying, if you really have your eye on SAWC, and that is, you're really weight limited, you do have a tactical carbine, it is going to be on your person. Do you need a 2-layer deep weapon system? I would say probably not, especially if you're with other individuals who could back you up. That being said, and remember the key and operative word there is need. Do you need it? I advocate it. Okay, I like it. I like having secondary weapon system capability on whatever tactical carbine system I'm running. Getting back to influence of review as a reviewer, I always have it. Every time you'll see me running with it, because I'm also testing a pistol, and I don't have time to come out and run a gun just with that pistol. So I'm running the SIG 226, XDM40, any number of other pistols, getting data for that review. That being said, I advocate having one on your person if you can take the extra poundage, because it's going to be extra weight for you. This is a SIG 226 stainless steel slide version 9mm. Okay, so, speaking of interferences, here's an interference right here. Remember I said be aware of them? So here's the TAC Force horizontal holster. Mags are right here, totally bumping. Is that bad? Yeah, it's bad, but then again, I want to run 3 mags. I'll get to the mag load out here in a second. And I just, when I'm running the Blue Force Lightspeed pouches, they're elastic. I just pull this out of the way, extract the gun, no big deal. I'm aware of it. You see me on camera many times work around it. Not a big deal. Pistols. Let's say we're talking run and gun. I told you this video is interesting. There's so much to talk about. Let's say you show up with a run and gun and you show up with a freaking race pistol. Not approved. Don't show up with a race gun, man. I want you to learn how to shoot with a service pistol with basically no modifications on it at all. Beretta, SIG, Glock, XD, Smith & Wesson, CZ, you betcha. Ruger, learn how to shoot without gun, without any enhancements. After you've shot it, and perhaps you get a level of competency with it, maybe just then you can say, I think I'd shoot it better with a trigger mod. Then you'll look at that. But as soon as you start dicking around, and this same could be said for tactical carbines too, as soon as you start dicking around and getting inside of them, you may screw something up and you may ruin what is pretty awesome reliability. The trigger units in the carbines back there, by the way, I think are a little bit different because they're already manufactured. I've never seen reliability problems with a drop-in modular super quality trigger unit. A little aside there. Run a service pistol. Be good with it. What caliber should I get, Nutnfancy? Up to you. I think between the 9mm, which is like generally the accepted low end of major calibers, to a 45, maybe 357 SIG, maybe higher up. You know, the spread on one-shot stops to the torso of effectiveness is very small. So generally for size effectiveness, for training effectiveness, cost effectiveness, I'll go with a 9mm. You know, low choice when things get serious, 124 grain plus P, yo. Awesome. Make your hits count. 40's great. 40's probably my overall favorite cartridge if SAWC will permit it. Okay. Go with what caliber you can shoot best. If you want to shoot a 44 Magnum Desert Eagle, awesome. You better hit with it, otherwise I'm going to laugh at you. Everybody's going to laugh at you, and that's another thing. If you come out, you're just probably going to get laughed at. It's funny. They laugh at me too. Carriage, how do I carry it? I don't know. You're looking at one of my favorite methods right there, guys. The horizontal chest-mounted pistol. I have a whole video on it addressing criticisms of the system. You know, some guys, some tactical elitists will roll in, well, that's the stupidest way to carry a pistol. I don't want to go into a big, long thing. I don't have time. It's not stupid, and it's very effective. It's awesome. It works great in vehicles. It works great in pretty much every situation except when you're flat on your belly, which I rarely will be when I'm shooting. I'm either going to be rollover prone, side, left side, right side, very accessible, keeps the weapon clean. I'm not going to say that I don't like drop-down holsters, but influencer review means this is a system that works for me, especially a jack-of-all-trades holster like this one. Okay, because it can take the SIG, it can take a GP100 Ruger revolver, a Smith & Wesson full-size revolver. Any auto pistol will fit in this system. And check this out, this SIG is running a light. It's pretty good for a holster that cost me $15. The only disadvantage, and this is a training issue, and it's a speed issue, is that it takes two hands to clasp it back in. I'm aware of it, and I just deal with it. You can't get everything out of your holster system. There's always going to be some disadvantages. Let's say you choose a Serpent drop-down. This one's for the same SIG 226. Excellent, I love it. But now you're running a single-point sling, and your tactical carbine's running and swinging and bashing into this thing, and your $800 SIG is all scratched up after running and gunning with this, and you're going to be bummed about that, by the way. And then when you go roll over prone on your strong side, which for you, let's say is right side, in the dirt it goes, in the mud. Your gun is all messed up and dirty now. Now you come out, now you've introduced all that foreign matter into your service pistol, which your life may just depend on. Your carbine goes down. Great, I have a service pistol, the range is close, I'm engaging. You do a transition, which we practice here in TNP all the time, I advocate that. Boom, 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 clip, nothing happens. Your gun jammed, full of mud. Happens to the best of them. So be aware. And also disadvantage for cost-wise is this is fit or sized only for a SIG. I can pull this off, put another holster on, I can use a platform, but it's not as cost effective. You might go with another awesome option, the Blackhawk Spec Ops holster. Reviewed in the Nutnfancy project. Jack of all trades, a little bit slower, got to adjust it. Doesn't clip in, doesn't have the speed of a Serpa. See, there's always a disadvantage. Sometimes I will run a side-mounted pistol, leg-mounted pistol. By the way, if you do mount it on a drop-down, I recommend mounting it higher. Don't go way down on the thigh because that's rotational mass that your muscles have to get moving before you start running. Mount it high, so almost a belt mounted, so right there near your waistline. Don't put all that weight way down where the moment arm's really high. Lessons learned in TNP. Okay, so that's a couple options. Run it how you want. I will say this, if you show up a carbine course with this horizontal, they're not going to dig it, and I don't blame them a bit. They don't know what your level of skill is. This gun is pointing as someone else when you're holstering it, they're going to get excited. They're going to have you take it off. They're going to, and they will have said this already on their website or whatever. It's like, dude, you got to run like a regular, conventional holster. I don't fault them. That's fine. And real quick, I always have to say this. Guys, well, I don't like this because the muzzle's always pointing at someone. What? Dudes, in a horizontal holster like you carry my PF9 in, day after day after day, under my shirt, it's always pointing at someone. It's like pointed to the person behind you. It's horizontally carried, the pistol. The pistol will not go off by itself. It needs human manipulation to fire. Okay, it's safe. I will say it has to be used carefully. When you put it in, you don't point it to your chest. You point it horizontally. You keep your finger out of the trigger guard. All the very important safety handling things which apply to, I don't know, a drop-down holster. Can't tell you how many times I've seen people on requal classes and training classes, military classes, where they're coming in like this and they put their gun right towards their femoral artery. You seen that, guys? Yeah, I know there's a lot of people nodding their head. Yeah, so it's the same thing. I mean, how about going straight in? Finger off the trigger. Chill out. There you go. Maintenance on your pistol. Make sure it's lubricated. Make sure it's relatively clean, especially if it's going to storage and it's a raw rig, or LE if it's your trunk gun, if this is your trunk setup. I got to cruise. Here it is, LBE. That's pistols. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I have time to say right now. Oh, let me say this, because I have to put this in. Stability. I didn't mention that. Whatever system you choose, whether it's chest mounted, a drop down, however you want to carry your pistol, it has to be stable. Okay, and we have seen problems with that in the Nutnfancy project. The guy thought his holster was in a cheesy holster, not like this, or maybe it is like this and he didn't snap it. He didn't secure his gun. Out it comes. When you're running, it's gone. How many times have we seen that in TNP? I show it so you guys can learn from experience, from our experience. So you'll see me on camera as a range master saying, dude, snap your gun. You won't start running until it's snapped if you choose something like this. Advantage SERP, I guess. LBE. Okay, cool. Magazine management. That's primarily why I wear an LBE rig. That is load-bearing equipment. You see in front of you the tag plate carrier in multicam. Love it, just reviewed it. I've reviewed a lot of high-value rigs here. Not a lot. Some of my favorites. A Condor MOPC, another Condor chest rig, 511 vest, 511 plate carrier. I've shown you some Blackwater made by Michaels of Oregon options. Those, if you showed up with those, I would count you as spending your money wisely. The ones I roll in front of the camera first and foremost are cost effective. You can easily go out in the world today and spend up to, I don't know, $500 on an LBE rig. To me, that's stupid money, guys. It's stupid. I mean, you throw out the second kind of cool card, okay, I'll let you get away with it. But I mean, seriously, why do you need to spend that? This tag rig is $125 made in the United States of America. It's awesome. Superb quality reference or review. Why do I run LBE? Well, primarily, like I said, magazine management. I recommend for a standard raw rig, I would say trunk gun for my rural police officers, never can say that word, 3 carbine magazines loaded to 29 rounds. Download them 1 round just for your magazine spring. And then I would say 3 pistol magazines as well. How are you going to carry those in such a space efficient and quick manner? And when I say quick manner, dudes, it is one-stop shopping. Everything is right here. I just throw it on. I don't have to weave things through a belt. If I have a call out, if I'm a police officer, boom, vest comes on. Integrated pistol. I have my carbine magazines. I have my pistol magazines. And in my setup, I have integrated body armor. LE guys, I recommend you run that way. Me, I'm running, as you've seen many times, FAPC level 3A soft armor inserts. If you want to go rifle plate, go ahead. And I will laugh at you when you come out and run and gun with those 16-pound plates. 8 pounds apiece front and rear. Plus 1 pound a piece for each of these. The weight will add up very quickly. If you want to throw a hydration pouch on there, I'm going to laugh even harder. You're going to do 1, maybe 2 runs, and you're going to be done. You're going to say, I've got to download. And no one's going to blame you, but we just knew it was going to happen that way. You know, the guys hiking around Afghanistan right now, hunting bad guys, they're carrying, their loadouts are like 100 pounds. SAWC, dude. Okay, so back to one-stop shopping. Level 2 is what I call about 120 round loadout. And actually you have 4 mags. You have 1 in each gun, in the pistol and in the carbine. If you're coming out to a run and gun, I'm not going to use all of those mags. In fact, you'll probably only run with 2, and you don't have to run with a 3rd. Game it a little bit. Okay, there's some gamesmanship there. And we're going to download you to 10 and Sledgehammer. That's fine, so we can practice reloading. But you should have a couple extra magazines in case one goes south on you. And man, that's happened a lot. We just don't know why that magazine just is not feeding. Well, what's going on? I don't know. Get your permanent marker out. You see how that's integrated in the rig right there. Where'd it go? It's under here. Get out, mark it with an X. Then you know it's bad. Go troubleshoot it later. You know, in a firefighter, you're going to say, this magazine sucks. I wonder why. Let me take it apart. No, you're going to pitch it. Okay, so LBE, one-stop shopping, everything's integrated. Love that. Clip, I got everything. Talk about the knife later if I remember. Simple. It's just simple. There's no straps that I have to get in there. And again, we're talking about influence of the review too. Because I'm a reviewer, it just makes sense for me. I have elastic pouches. I might be running an AK system, so I'll use those. So there is some things on the review, but still it makes sense for a law enforcement guy and a responsible civilian. Military guys, you're going to be dictated by your unit what you're going to use. Some guys, maybe some contractors, will have latitude on what they can carry. The systems I show will work. Honestly though, if I'm going into Indian country in Afghanistan, I ain't taking just 3 mags. I'm taking 16 mags. Yeah, I'm taking as many as I can carry. Same with pistol. I'm going to take extra ammo, as much as my body will allow me to take with all my other mission requirements. If I have radio, food, and other stuff, I'm going to have to make those hard choices, okay? And it depends on what my job and the platoon is. You know, what's my primary weapon? You guys know that. Magazine management. You got to figure it out. What works best for you. Orient your magazines in the right way. You want to be tactically squared away. Don't show up with your magazines facing every which way. That's like a newbie thing. What way do you like them? I don't know. Sometimes I'll run them up and I change from, shoot to shoot sometimes. Generally, I run them the way I'm showing you right now, especially if it's raining or snowing. I generally won't run them up like this in bad weather because then I'm going to get precipitation in the magazine. Why put it in there if it doesn't have to be in there? I'll run it down like this. Don't show up with a race rig. I'm talking like some rigs that 3-gun guys use. I mean, it's something that's really fast. It comes out the belt of these very awkward but easily grasped angles. You know, they're doing that for speed, and for 3-gun it makes a lot of sense. But what I want to see and what I test and what I advocate is a tactical system that can work if you're hiking 10 miles. It's stable. There's that word again. The magazines aren't going to push out. They're not going to fall on the ground. I can roll around. I can romp. I can jump with it. Nothing's going to fall off on a squared away tactical rig. You're not going to be leaving a trail of crumbs of magazines and bipods and flashlights because you don't know what the hell you're doing out there. Square your crap away, dudes. This video is designed for that. Make sure your magazine pouches really hold your magazines. Okay? These are awesome, by the way. Are they the most durable? I don't know. Time will tell. Some tag pistol carriers there with the magnets in them. Those have been excellent. Okay, so level 2, I'm saying 4 mags, actually 3 on the LB. I think that makes a lot of sense. In a Nutnfancy run a gun, you wouldn't use them all. In a checkpoint, my neighborhood goes into WROL, you're looking at a rig that I would be wearing. This is what guys will show up. Hey, let's go rock that neighborhood over there. Let's go rape and pillage and plunder that neighborhood. They're going to see about 6 dudes with this. And they're going to go, not a good neighborhood, let's keep going. And maybe they don't. Maybe they go, hey, rock and roll, dude. Okay, it's going to be a bad day for you. That's all I'll say. It's going to be a bad day for you. Okay, enough of that. Stable load carry. I really can't stress that enough, that you don't want crap flying off there. And let's say, I'm not against, by the way, belt carry for your magazines. There's good ways to do that. And nor am I knocking the 3-gun way. I think for a 3-gun, for that game and for that training they do, I think it makes a lot of sense where microseconds really count. What I'm saying is generally for me as a reviewer to throw all that on, to take the belt off, now I'm going to an AR, now I'm going to an AK, again I can run a taco or something like that that's more versatile. Nah, I'm not really up for that. I'll just run this rig. You'll see me running off the belt occasionally, and for a revolver I generally do. What do you do with the magazines, speaking of managing your magazines, when you're done with them? Well, I advocate a dump pouch, and you see me in the Nutnfancy project do that, and you see me laugh at people who don't use a dump pouch. In a training situation, a tactical carbine course, especially if it's conducted in really bad weather and really bad conditions, which we do, snow, rain, mud, sleet, slush, have fun going finding your magazines again. It sucks, and it sucks big time. If you're in a war situation, broad term, law enforcement, you guys included, you drop your magazines. Can you really afford to lose that magazine? Do you have that many ammunition feeding devices extra where you can just leave it and go on? No, you can't. I say retain it. I think it's dumb to just throw it away, and it's so easily trained. I always run a dump pouch. Does it slow me down a microsecond? Maybe, but I throw it in a dump pouch. I'm so used to it now, it's second nature. Pistol goes in a dump pouch. Rifle mag goes in a dump pouch. And it's a great catch-all too. So for other things that go wrong, that fall off, even though you plan for them not to fall off, they will probably. Dump pouch. Throw it in your dump pouch till you get time to square it away. At least you didn't lose it. Okay? Use a dump pouch. That's what I say. I got to press, man. There you go. That's a few thoughts on LB, and that's all I have time for. I need to. It's 45 minutes in, dudes, and I still don't have time. Protective gear. Use knee pads. I really recommend them. Guys who don't run knee pads and TNP in my running guns, if I'm throwing them down in the dirt, shooting off barricade, sooner or later they're going to want knee pads. They will. Hey, you got an extra set of knee pads? Yes, I do. Here you go. You're going to thrash your knees. Hearing protection. Law enforcement, military guys, you may not have the time or inclination, heck, civilians for that matter, to throw hearing protection in prior. But if you're going to a course, a tactical carbine course, you're coming out to a Nutnfancy run a gun, bring hearing protection. Here's a Howard Light Sport hearing protectors, previously reviewed, love them. There's other ones out there that are excellent. Bring them. Foam hearing protectors. Eye protection. I think these are Remington. Guys have asked me about these. Bring eye protection. We shoot steel out there. Could get a ricochet. Never had one hit anybody ever, but you just never know. Bring eye protection. Actually, I recommend it for LE and military guys as well, 100% of the time. Especially my military guys over there in Afghanistan. IED cooks off, you're in a Humvee. Eye protection can save your eyeballs as splintered metal and glass flies around in the cockpit of your armored vehicle. Heck, anywhere. Always have eye protection on. It's so cheap, it's so good. Make sure you wear one that doesn't distort. Decent enough. Gloves. I don't have any on the table. You guys know I'm a big advocate of gloves. I've used them for so long, they're second nature. I don't find a well-fitting pair of gloves. I can't believe I don't have one on the table. But a well-fitted pair of gloves does not interfere with the way I shoot. Okay, you hear me? Some guys, well, it gets in the way. Well, you haven't trained with them then. And maybe you haven't just got the right pair of gloves. You have some extra fabric. I've been talking about gloves for 3 years now. The ones I use are the Mechanics brand. They come in coyote brown. They come in black. I did a review on them. Check it out. They're on Amazon for about 18 bucks. It's like free, dude. Yeah, wear them. They prevent your hands getting shredded, which has happened to me numerous times. I was working on the car yesterday. Speaking of getting shredded, there you go. Totally got shredded. Didn't have my mechanics gloves on. I was like, why do I have my gloves on? Wear gloves. Recommend it. Train with them. It'll feel a little uncomfortable at first, but especially if it's cooler, colder, it's going to give you more ability to shoot before your fingers go numb. You've seen that too in TNP. Knee pads, glasses, gloves, hearing protectors. How about clothing? Do I have to wear camouflage if I come out to a Nutnfancy run a gun? No. To be honest, I get into kind of the producer, creative side of TNP and the kind of the look that I want to have out there. So yeah, I kind of like the subdued colors. You guys know I love FDE, the tans, the woodlands. I like that. It just looks cool. Second kind of cool. But if we go to first kind of cool, and that is practicality, I would recommend the camouflage. If you're a responsible civilian and you go into WROL without rule of law, you don't want to be seen. You don't want to engage. You want to be very low key. You never want to fire around ever, ever, ever. Maybe you're in theater of operations like I find myself in, West Desert. I'll tell you what, multicam, I blend. And so when I'm running MC out there, guys, I'm running my system. It's not just for test, but this is my camouflage currently of choice. ATAX, well, maybe, kind of blots out a little bit more. MC is a great camouflage pattern for where I am. Your mileage may differ. Yeah, I like it. I'm practicing my own stuff. So yeah, I'm a reviewer, but I'm practicing with my own systems. What you see is what I'd use. Low key, make it strong, and it is protective gear because it's going to save your elbows, your hands, your arms, all that good stuff. I got to cruise. Really didn't have a lot of time to talk about extras like the boots, non-lethal, integration of non-lethal. I will talk about knives. I do recommend having another layer of weaponry on you, on your LBE, wherever it is. A lightweight tactical blade, 4 ounces, well spent. Could save your life if you go into tussling on the ground. Dudes, I'm out of time. There's other stuff I was going to talk about, but I'm so out of time it's not even funny. It's going to be a 50-minute video, and I haven't stopped talking since. No retakes. No retakes. Tactically squared away. Maybe I'll make other videos on stuff I didn't cover. I don't know. If there's interest, I'll see how many views this gets. If it just takes off, I probably will. Square your crap away, guys. I mean, seriously, sight your weapon in, and it's got to be sighted in, reliable, all the stuff I said. This is Nutnfancy. Thanks for all the support. You guys rock.